News Talk 96.5 KPEL. We know that Congress, if they haven't already, they will soon get the FBI report. We heard last night it was going to go to the White House first, and then we heard that the vote will happen tomorrow. Joining us on the phone, our own Senator Bill Cassidy. And Senator Cassidy, I don't know if I feel comfortable doing this interview with you standing still. I feel like we should be running down a hallway. I should be screaming questions and demands at you, and you should be calmly answering me. Good morning.
Yeah, the emphasis, good morning, Rob. The emphasis should be on screaming.
Yes. You know, we talked about this yesterday. I was on with Carol Ross yesterday afternoon, and we were talking about this. We played the whole exchange, and it is just amazing to me that people are so beside themselves. You would think by the reaction that you guys are getting, you know, people that are actually inside the building, which, I mean, I know they have to be let in. It's a public building. However, it's almost as if everyone was corroborating the claims of the accusers, and the only person saying it didn't happen was Kavanaugh. But it's the exact opposite. It's one accuser, the rest can't be corroborated, and Kavanaugh says it's not happening, and you guys are in the middle of it. And you're not even on the Judiciary Committee. But as a doctor, you must hate women. I don't get it, Senator.
Yeah, so I think what we're seeing, Rob, is that among women, there have been many who have been in some way approached sexually, which they did not appreciate, and in some cases violated them.
Yeah.
And however you define violation. Yep. And so there is a desire to have that expressed. Mm-hmm. I get that. That is wrong. But this is a disservice to the Me Too movement, because now it's been weaponized. Now it's not a question of justice for people like who are the victims of Bill Cosby or Harvey Weinstein.
Yeah.
Now it's a weapon
that
destroys the reputation of people who are otherwise decent.
Yeah.
I think that's what's almost being lost here.
Well, and I think the other part, too, is, you know, people compared it. People have tried to make comparisons because I think as human nature, that's what we do with any situation we're unsure of. Mentally, we say, okay, hold on. Last time we dealt with this is how it went. But there are so many different things where the Anita Hill, Clarence Thomas thing was a workplace incident, and it wasn't too far in the past. You know, it was relatively recent, things that had happened recently, not 36 years ago as this situation. And then you mentioned the Me Too movement. You know what? Every time these people came out, they had credible claims, and they also a lot of times had proof. So there was no question about this. I just don't understand how, if this happened, and that's a big if this happened, what happened? Did he get struck by lightning that it didn't continue into his life? That the alcohol problems that are alleged, that the sexual assault stuff, that kind of stuff usually doesn't just stop if that's what's going on. From a healthcare perspective, I'm sure you've dealt with patients who've had traumas, whether it's this kind or others. What do you make of it and that side of things? Because obviously something happened to this woman. I think the question is, was it Brett Kavanaugh?
You know, we won't ever know. Yeah. All we know is her story has changed, and we don't have the notes from the therapist, so it's an incomplete story. Again, a changing story without the full notes from the therapist, and obviously some inconsistencies, because the door that she said that was for her claustrophobia, as it turns out, goes into a rental unit, and it appears as if she was renting to the woman who may have been her therapist. So given all that, we just have to go back to what is a fundamental precept of fairness and justice. If she said 4 people were there and all 4 of them say it didn't happen or they don't remember, then probably something different happened.
Need something else, yeah.
So, and now Kavanaugh, who's been on the D.C. Circuit Court for years, whom everybody has praised, they're saying he isn't fit to be a judge after a track record of however long. About a decade, I think. So it's crazy, Rob.
What are you hearing, or what is your thought? Because, you know, here's the deal. You have 3 groups of people. You have senators like, I would imagine, yourself, who, you know, looking at his track record, have believe that Kavanaugh has proven himself to be a capable jurist and a fine Supreme Court justice. Then you have the other side who have said since day one, before they heard anything about him, that they would do everything to stop him. But the important votes are the ones in the middle, the swing votes, the Collins, the Murkowski, even the Joe Manchins, that are in that middle, that those are the ones that are going to swing it either way. What is the feeling there among those people that you can tell?
I think they're fundamentally fair people.
Yeah.
And they may have wanted an increased vetting of it. But I think, and they may have wanted to bend over backwards to show that everyone was being heard and everything looked at. But they're fundamentally fair people. They're not a Dick Durbin who's going to make up innuendo seeking to destroy a reputation just for the sake of partisanship. They are going to be people who look at it. They're going to say, there's no corroboration. There just isn't. And so as terrible as the charges are, they're charges, but there is nobody else that supports them, and we can't allow that to derail a qualified candidate.
Okay, and I have one more question after this, but if the vote happens tomorrow, what is your prediction? You think it's going to happen?
Yeah, it definitely is going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he passes. I think there won't be a Democrat who will be the 51st vote. I can promise you that.
Yeah.
But if we get all 51 Republicans, we'll get a couple other Democrats to vote for him, I suspect.
Okay, it's interesting because it sort of seems like events like this suck the air out of the room when I know there's other things going on in Congress.
Yeah.
What else is going on? Any points of legislation that you want to draw our attention to, or things that particularly have to do with us here? That's what I want to talk about.
The great floods of 2016, I went down to Youngsville and saw all these great homes that were flooded. And since, I can promise you that there's some that were told to apply for SBA loans, and therefore it turns out they couldn't get a Restore Louisiana grant.
Yeah.
That changed yesterday.
Thank God.
Yesterday that changed.
Finally.
We worked on that for 2 years. Finally. And the Youngsville school, I didn't see it, but I suspect it may have flooded, or at least other schools did. We also have a provision that changes the deductible from $500,000 per building to $500,000 per campus.
Okay.
And so that's going to save private, parochial, and public school systems a heck of a lot of money, allowing them
West
to
Side,
put more money into education.
West Side Elementary and Scott, that's the one you need to keep on your radar because that one has pretty much had to be rebuilt because of the amount of water on that one.
Gosh.
So that passed yesterday, and we just feel incredibly positive about that.
I'm so glad and so relieved to hear it. We had 3 people in our building alone right here who were affected with damage in their homes. And it was just, here are these people trying to help us do these stories about other people, and they've got their own concerns. We didn't even know about our own people's homes flooding until days later, because that's how dedicated they are to the people who live in our area and the service we know that we have to do. But, it was so hard to believe that, oh, my God, you're forced into an SBA loan, and now when there's all this leftover money in the Restore Louisiana program and you're not eligible somehow for that, it was crazy. And I'm sad it took 2 years, but I am glad for people that they will be able to access this money.
And I may say that's when local radio is really appreciated because Sirius XM is not reporting on a flood in
That's
Vermillion.
right.
But KPEL is. And so hats off to your folks who came in just so that those who were affected knew what was going on. But by the way, you may not hear it on Sirius either. But again, help is on the way. Restore Louisiana grants are now available for those who were told to do SBA.
And it was almost to the point of insulting when you hear the term duplication of benefits.
Yeah.
You know what duplication of benefits is on the healthcare side. I couldn't believe we were talking about it in a response to a disaster. So kudos to you for working on those things. Senator, I appreciate your time today. And, good luck. It seems pretty crazy. I know there are going to be a bunch of protesters. Bernie and I were kind of talking about the protesters who are going to be in D.C., and I made the comment, it's probably only one of 30 protests that are going on in the city. There's not usually just one game going when you're there. So thanks for the work you're doing.
Well, let me say one more thing.
Yeah.
There's 2 Bernies in my life.
Oh.
There's you, Bernie.
Uh-huh.
There's you, Bernie, and there's Bernie Sanders.
Oh, well.
Well, let me just tell you, though, when it was Bernie 2016, I was telling everybody, I'm like, look, this may be his campaign thing, but it's all about this Bernie,
And one has much better hair. Let's just be honest. We won't say which one.
My hair is gorgeous. Yeah.
All right, Senator Cassidy. Thanks so much for your time.
Have a great one.
Thank you.